What is going on? It's Dr. Remy LeBeau, and I'm coming at you once again from the X-Lair to provide you my deep and insightful thoughts on what I consider to be the summer of the X-Men. House of X, Powers of X. Let me give you my thoughts on this so that you have an idea of where I stand with this beautiful gem of a story.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole goddamn package right there.
Probably one of my favorite things in life. Stay tuned if you want to hear all my thoughts on this amazing, transformative X-Men moment. Much like Marvel has their Swimsuit issue and DC has now started doing that as well. I'm giving summer, right?
How did you do that?
With style, Petit. With style.
Keeping with the theme of summer, what is the summer of the X-Men? What is this season of the X-Men mythos, of the X-Men canon? Like, what is the summer of that?
Everything seems to be on fire.
House of X, Powers of X, released in 2019, was a revolutionary story which reestablished the X-Men in a new status quo. This, to me, is the most important X-Men story ever told.
Remy was right.
It's the best X-Men story ever told.
Some things are deeper than skin.
It is not just a great X-Men story, but a great story.
Promise realized.
It is also a great demonstration of the execution of a reinvention and reintroduction into a world that had become stale. This is on the scale of Beau DeMaio with X-Men 97.
To me, my X-Men.
Reintroduction, reinvention, elevation. Written by Jonathan Hickman, drawn by Pepe Larraz and R.B. Silva. It was a 12-issue series. All the X-Men books were canceled prior to this happening. Then we had one a week come out of each of these intertwining stories. So you had the first issue of House of X, and it sort of establishes the new status quo, and it's very jarring, but it's also very fucking awesome. And you have the Powers of X, which is dealing with things happening in this new status quo, but also jumping forward in time, like 100 years and then like 1,000 years, kind of telling stories in each period that will ultimately all link back to what's happening. Now, this particular storyline is important for several reasons. Marvel, back in the 90s, when they were just an independent publishing company, went bankrupt.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna need some coconut oil.
And when they did, they sold off the film rights to Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, the X-Men, Ghost Rider, Daredevil, a bunch of characters. Fox was the lucky company that landed the film rights to the X-Men. Okay, so in 2010, Marvel, the publisher, is purchased by Disney.
Don't you know who I am?
Disney
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
doesn't want to promote the characters of their movie studio competitor, Fox. And so they make a decision that in the comic books, the X-Men are going to become very unimportant.
Bitch!
In the overall Marvel universe.
Bitch!
So for like 10 years, posters would come out, as they had for decades, of the entire Marvel universe, and they would not include the X-Men, even though the X-Men were always signature Marvel. Disney made a very intentional decision to leave them out. Beyond that, they canceled the existing animated series of the X-Men, which was excellent. It was called Wolverine and the X-Men. It went one season. It was going to go into its next season. They canceled it because it was good and would make people want to watch Fox's movies. So they canceled that, and then they said,
Bitch!
There is a moratorium on X-Men animated anything.
I'm like, fuck you and I fuck her too, certified.
Also, any merch I had to be from Etsy stores, like unlicensed from China.
Oh, look at this little Harry Lou Retton.
They weren't creating official merchandise for the X-Men at all. And it was rough.
Are you okay? Not you. We're just going in a different direction.
So for 10 years, the X-Men are unimportant, right? So X-Men fan here since the 90s. That broke my heart. In 2019, it became clear that Disney was buying Fox. That meant that Disney now had the film rights to the X-Men.
Bitch!
So it was clear that the minute Disney bought Fox, they were going to make the X-Men important.
Is everything all right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is.
Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, was like, we have big plans for the X-Men. Like, that was like a very explicit thing that was said. And it's clear now that post-Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, when the universes reset and all the universes combine to one, there's going to be a heavy emphasis on the mutants. Like, it's going to be the mutant saga. You know, they've had the Infinity Saga, and now this is the Multiverse Saga. This will end with Doomsday and Secret Wars, and then we will go into the Mutant Saga.
It's very groovy, mutation.
So they went to the best writer they had, Jonathan Hickman, who's still probably the best comic book writer working today. Better than Grant Morrison, in my book. I love Grant Morrison. I think they are at very close to the top. But right now, Hickman, for me, top.
Bitch!
So they go to their best writer, and they're like, dude, like, we gotta bring the X-Men back to life.
You shouldn't have buried me. I'm not dead.
We fucked up the X-Men. You know, we killed the X-Men.
All right, now get out there and make me some goddamn money.
In terms of just like the general zeitgeist of like a younger generation, the idea of what makes X-Men cool and the X-Men themselves were eradicated from their collective consciousness.
It's like it's been erased.
Erased from existence.
Bitch!
To the point where like I got a nephew of mine a Wolverine figure for Christmas like 5-10 years ago. I forget how many years. And he was upset.
I've never had a Christmas with you before.
Yeah, you ain't missing nothing.
Like, oh, Wolverine's some old character. Nobody cares about him. Like, he was very vocal about it. And it shook me a bit, you know?
Are you okay?
So they basically went to Hickman. They're like, we fucked up.
Bitch!
We fucked up, and now we want to fix it.
I'm Winston Wolfe. I solve problems.
Jonathan Hickman was like, let me see what I can do.
I'm here to help. If my help's not appreciated, lots of luck, gentlemen.
So he sits down, he looks at the entire fucking canon of X-Men. All of it. And he's like, all right. First things first, we need all of the characters back to life. Because they had killed off so many fucking characters.
I love you.
To kind of dull the excitement of the book. Yeah, just killed it. So Hickman was like, okay, so everybody needs to come back. We need a mechanism for it. We've got that. But how do we unite everybody? We'll have a mutant nation. We've already had a mutant nation. Genosha. Didn't work out. Not their fault. But it makes sense for them to try again. And so they did, and it makes sense for them to do it on the island of Krakoa.
Who?
Krakoa was introduced in Giant Size X-Men #1. For those that don't know, Giant Size X-Men #1 rebooted the X-Men. So the X-Men originally were just 5, Jean Grey, Cyclops, Iceman, Beast, and Angel. Just them 5 with Professor X. And for like 80 issues, it was just them. And it was very kind of classic comic books where it was very kind of fantastic. And it was a lot of the same thing.
Excuse me, I'm Eric Lenstra.
Sounds Xavier.
They canceled the book.
Go fuck yourself.
But then they continued publishing it by just reprinting earlier issues.
Oh my fuck!
The cavalry. You were just leaving.
Then what happened in Giant Size X-Men was that they introduced this concept of a living mutant island called Krakoa, and the original team has been sent there, and they disappear. Xavier doesn't know what happened to them.
It's like it's been erased.
Erased from existence.
So he recruits a whole new team.
This one looks promising.
Wolverine had just been introduced in Incredible Hulk. 180 is a cameo, 181 is full appearance, and then 182 is like second appearance. This was third appearance of Wolverine. He's on the team. We introduce Colossus, Nightcrawler, Storm, and Thunderbird. This is a big moment, and it sort of defined the X-Men moving forward. So Krakoa is like an integral element to the evolution of the X-Men, and Hickman was like, okay, I'm going to use that, and I'm going to evolve the X-Men with Krakoa again. Initially, it's very jarring. There was a point where it was clear this was coming, and you start seeing images, and it's all very strange. So because it's a nation, everybody's coming together, right? The villains and the heroes. Really interesting dynamic. A lot of old shit has to be resolved, has to be reconciled. Perspectives have to be reconciled, and they have a fucking council made up of people of all backgrounds so that all perspectives are present, making decisions for the entire nation. Fantastic. And of course, they have to deal with trade. They have to deal with the recognition of them as a sovereign nation. You know, the geopolitical landscape, potential conflicts, potential rivalries, allies, just what any nation has to deal with. But on top of everything, like, it's mutants, right? Big natural resource is their powers.
Our mutant powers make us superior. That is why they fear us.
But their power as a nation goes far beyond that. They have developed these drugs that can extend human life, that can cure most human diseases. On top of that, they have these portals. And you can see those portals in other places and then teleport back and forth through the portals if you're a mutant. They have some in other parts of the galaxy, like on spaceships, on Mars, on the moon, on various places on Earth. And they can travel back and forth, and it's really cool. So Jonathan Hickman brings all of these concepts together, fleshes it out, establishes this world, and it is delicious. Just utterly delicious. So when House of X starts, like, all of this has already happened. The mutant state has been established. We do get some flashbacks, you know, to the moments where it happens, but you're just kind of promulgated into it. And it's very jarring, but at the same time, it's very exciting and exhilarating. It's like, oh my God, not only is this different than anything that's come before, but it's so much better than anything that's been coming out like the last 10 years. All of a sudden, I was hearing people throughout YouTube talking about this. Nobody was talking about X-Men comics. And then all of a sudden, they were talking about X-Men comics everywhere, and people love this.
Yes. Say no to this. I don't say no to this.
So, Moira McTaggart, scientist. If you've seen the cartoon, she's like a Scottish geneticist who tries to help the mutants. You know, she's like an ally.
It's Moira McTaggart. I have an old friend here, Professor Xavier.
Okay, so now for the spoiler. Issue 2 of House of X, which is the third issue in this story. First you had House of X1, then Powers of X1, then House of X2. In House of X2, Moira McTaggart is revealed to be a mutant. So what is her mutant power? Well, it turns out that when she dies, she resets time. When she's born again, she has memories of the entire life before. So in the womb, she's like conscious and can think on a level that an older person can think on. What happens is, at some point, she talks to Xavier, and her knowledge of prior lives is what led Xavier and Magneto, because he worked with Magneto on it, they worked together, to create Krakoa. We're getting the origin of what happened, because, like, again, it was very jarring in the first issue, and, like, you don't really know how we got here, but then it does ultimately reveal how we got there. It's fucking awesome. So Moira McTaggart has this complicated set of lives, and it all kind of intertwines and comes back to the beginning. And then at the very end of this story, like, you have everyone together, and there's like a party happening on Krakoa. And it's just a big celebration of them being a nation. Like, I believe the United Nations acknowledged them as a sovereign state, and there's just a big celebration of that. And there's just like fireworks, and it's really exciting. And like, I remember feeling like the warmest, one of the most wonderful feelings I'd ever felt in my life. The endorphins were kicking. It was a moment that I'll never forget. You know, after all the decades of them fighting and being against each other.
Don't get in my way.
It all came together in this beautiful thing.
We are the future, Charles, not them.
So House of X, Powers of X establishes the world, sets up really interesting situations, story threads that are going to go somewhere. And then it went to some really interesting places. When this came out, that was the moment that it became very clear that things were going to go in a better direction. And they did, and it's been wonderful. And it's just a beautiful thing that it's like you reach a point in your life, and I'm in my 40s, so it's like I thought I'd seen all good X-Men, and then all of a sudden this came out, and I was like, oh, I can still be surprised in life.
What do you mean?
I don't...
Not necessarily just comic books or whatever, but just things in general.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
It's a wonderful thing to know. You can still be surprised by life in this world in really wonderful ways.
Some motherfuckers still trying to ice skate uphill.
All right, folks. Well, thank you so much for checking out my video, the Summer of X-Men issue of the X-Lair, where we just talk about X-Men shit, because why not? Because I'm into the X-Men. Hey, that's what I am. That's what I do. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to entertain my X-fans and hopefully bring in some new ones, because I know things are going to change in the, the next 10 years. And a new generation is going to become big fans of the X-Men, and it's going to be wonderful. And I can't wait for it to happen. I can't wait to talk about it. Anyway, thank you so much for checking out my video. And as always, I want to remind you that if you haven't already, where are you? You better put an X in the box, because ain't nobody checking me, bitches. Ain't nobody checking this, bitch. It's been nice. We'll see each other soon. Bye-bye.